jobs cuts. Oscar, Lamborghini's CEO just told us yesterday orders are still looking pretty good. But I know you also wrote about the state of the UK consumer this morning. What do you have for us?
Good morning, good
Well,
morning,
again,
good
this is
morning.
bad news for the real economy. GfK's Consumer Confidence Index fell to -36 here in the UK in May, which was a drop of 2 points month on month and just 3 points shy of the all-time low recorded in
Good morning,
2008.
good
So
morning, good
clearly,
morning, everybody.
shoppers are not in mood to rush out even as shops start to reopen here in the
Today
UK from in the
is
next couple
market
of
day,
weeks.
baby.
A separate consumer survey today showed
Let's see
that
what's
spending
going
fell
on.
18% month on month in May, although there was a huge jump in online sales. They rose by
I'm
130%.
gonna give y'all some time to
Oscar Williams Group.
jump in the
Thank you
chat.
so much.
In the
Thanks,
meantime,
Brian.
And
I'm gonna check
stay
and see
with
what
us. We
kind
have
of
lots
profits
more
I'm
ahead,
making.
including a conversation with Slack's CFO
Uh-oh,
and
a
another
message from
breakdown
Slacks.
of this jobs report today, which I think
I got a
stunned
message
us
from
all.
Slacks.
The economy adding 2.5 million
Oh.
jobs in the month
Adding
of
2.5
May. We'll be
million
right
jobs
back.
in a month. Let me double check and make sure I say that right.
All the economy adding 2.5 million jobs in the month of May. We'll be right back.
Okay. You can open up Yahoo. You only got one more. Yahoo Finance is talking about it. They on a commercial break, but I'm gonna stream it. Oh wow, today is an exciting day in the markets. Today is an exciting day in the markets. Like, wow. My mama gonna be so proud of me, man. I'm just here to show her that school is a waste of time. You don't need college to be this successful. High impact. Stop. Wow. American Airlines closed at $16 and opened up at $21. Oh man, like I'm so excited to see how this market play out when the market opens. This is I'm looking at pre-market right now, y'all. Pre-market starts from 4:30 and until the market opens, which is at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. New York Stock Exchange opens at 9:30 Eastern Standard, and then it closes at 4 o'clock, I believe. Wait, let me make sure I say that right. I think they close at 4 o'clock, and then the post market closes at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard. So if I see an opportunity to get into a trade in the pre-market and post-market, I usually take them. I might not stream it,
Welcome
but
back to the first trade. We have Dow futures rocketing higher this morning, up 750 points right now on the heels of a better than expected, or should I say less disappointing jobs report. The economy added 2.5 million jobs in the month of May. We were expecting a loss there. The unemployment rate fell to 13.3% as more economies begin to reopen. The UK has suffered roughly 40,000 coronavirus-related deaths. That is the second highest only to the US, but that number may actually be much higher. The Office for National Statistics says there is likely an excessive number of people who died in England and Wales from COVID-19 who were not originally diagnosed.
What? The smart one went up? Let me check it out.
According to Johns Hopkins, there are
I got to that smart app. Well, I only bought one share though. I think I only bought one share.
Who are infected with the
Hey,
virus,
profit is profit, man. Listen, don't ever leave profit on the table. You know what I'm saying? You know how I grew up in the family. My mama say, "Don't leave food on your plate." That's like leaving profit on the table. It's the same thing.
On the virus. Anjali, good morning to you. I see AstraZeneca signing two big deals here to try and get a vaccine out. What can you tell us about those deals?
That's right, Alexis. We know that AstraZeneca has been working with Oxford University to help develop their vaccine and scale it up for distribution worldwide.
Market
And they
opens in
made moves
14 minutes,
yesterday
baby.
to kind of seal that. We know that they entered a $750 million deal to produce that with Gavi, which is the World Vaccine Alliance, as well as another agreement with the Serum Institute of India, which they'd already been in talks with. So we're really expecting that. The Gavi is for 300 million doses. Meanwhile, with the Serum Institute, will be 400 million doses. And this puts a focus on really the distribution to lower income countries. And so that's really important as we've been having, these discussions about where the vaccines will go once they're produced.
I'm also looking at another biopharma company, Novavax, today. Stock is up better than 10% here in the pre-market. What's the news out there, Anjali?
Yeah, so late yesterday, we got news that the Department of Defense has signed a contract with Novavax to help distribute their vaccine candidate, which we know is going through the trials right now and is one of those companies that we're keeping an eye on that has a lot of promise in their potential. And so that is a up to $60 million contract for 10 million doses of production. And we've been hearing a lot about, the military getting more involved with scaling up for these vaccine candidates. We know that for Operation Warp Speed, for example, the federal government is backing 5 other companies. And so this adds basically a 6th, though through a different pathway. So it's going to be interesting to see how many more do get involved and where the military is looking to back for scaling up.
All right, Anjali Kamlani, thanks for that. Now to some earnings. Slack beat on the top and bottom lines in its latest earnings report, which was released after the closing bell yesterday. The workplace messaging platform grew revenue by 50%.
What is the difference
between
this and Robinhood app? The difference is Robinhood is just an app that people without banks use or something like that. Maybe people who don't have trading.
Alan, good to see you and congratulations
Hold
on
on,
a really
let me
solid
pause
quarter here. Slack continues to benefit from this shift.
So what Robinhood does is, well, you know what? I got a better idea. I can just do this.
To compare your results, like Zoom, where revenue shot up 169.
All right, so Robinhood is usually for people who don't have, maybe people who don't have bank accounts or something like that, who just want to get involved in the trading, or whose banks don't have trading. My bank has trading, which is this, but I also use Robinhood as well because there are certain things that I can't buy in my bank that I do buy in Robinhood. So I do have a lot of stocks on my Robinhood account as well. I have a couple stocks. I probably, like on this page on my bank account right here. Well, on this bank account, on this trading account, I should say, I have a decent amount of stocks, but I also have a decent amount on my Robinhood as well. Like, I guess the main difference is you can do a little bit more stuff on Robinhood than you can. I know you can do a little bit more stuff with a real bank than you can with Robinhood. Like, for example, you can borrow money to make certain trades, which is good. Of course, you got to pay it back, but you can borrow money. You can't do that with Robinhood. You can short sell stocks. You can't do that with Robinhood. Of course, you got real customer support from real banks. You know what I mean? Instead of just a company that just started a trading platform, if that makes sense. I mean, it's a lot of other stuff involved too. Like, for example, let's say I'm gonna make up a random number, $1,000 in my account, and I'm trading 500 of the 1,000, right? The other 500 are just sitting in my account is collecting interest, unlike Robinhood. You see what I'm saying? So, think of Robinhood of Cash App that you can trade. That's the way I look at it. But, there were still the only reason why I have it because there were some stocks that I wasn't able to trade in my bank. That's why I got Robinhood. But also, this comes with a lot more other stuff too, like technical analysis, stock scanner, options trading, and a bunch of other stuff too. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, there's a lot of other stuff that's involved. The thing is, when you first learn how to trade, you're not going to really notice the important stuff. But when you start to learn how to trade, then you're going to really say, okay, well, I really do need to know what that stuff is. Because what happens is you see stuff that you're not used to seeing, you think is useless, which it's normal because I thought the same. I thought the same, and then the more and more and more I got involved into trading, the more and more and more I started bringing out the stuff that I started deleting or ignoring in the past. If that makes sense, you know what I mean? It's like playing Dota. I remember when I first played Dota, I never used to use a courier. I used to walk back to base, and I used to walk back to base and then walk back to the lane. I never knew the importance of a courier. You know, I was like, why spend money on a courier when I can just walk back and forth? But you know, and the more and more I play Dota, the more I realize it. It's the same concept. Because when you trade and see, the thing is, the difference between trading and investing is usually when people invest, they just pour money in and hope it go up, which is good. There's nothing wrong with doing that. But when you're trading, you want every penny. You want the best entry. Not saying people that invest don't really look at the best entry. They just get in and say they hope it goes up. But as a trader, you want the best entry, and that's how I do it. And sometimes if it's a good trade, then I leave it in and turn it into an investment. The difference between investment and trading is investment is like for long term, and trading is you basically buy high, buy low, sell high. So, and that's what I've been doing. So I give you an example. American Airline. I bought American Airline here. I sold it up here at the top. Bought more here, sold it up here, and then what I did was I bought more here. And because it shot up all the way up here, well, now it's at 21. I didn't sold it because I turned it into an investment because they got the cure from coronavirus. So I'm going to take that all the way up until I see an area where it struggles to go up or it struggles to go down. That's called support and resistance. Once I find another support and resistance level, then I'll sell it. But until then, I'm just going to ride out the wave for a while. See, right now you don't see much movement in the market because, like I said, it's what's called, this is pre-market right here. Pre-market is before the market open. Post-market is after the market closes. You can trade during both time frames. So it's usually 2 hours before and 2 hours after. So you're gonna see like you see some small movements in the numbers right now on the left side right here and on the right side. But the moment that this right here goes from 6 minutes to 0, then you're gonna see the market really start to shake up, and that's when you gotta really pay attention to what's going on. See, right now it's pretty slow, but it's still volatile. You're still getting pretty good trades. But you'll see in about 6 minutes, you'll see what I'm talking about. But yeah, if you got questions, man, just ask them. I like answering questions. It makes this funner.
Thanks for having me.
Going to be a recap.
I just missed what they said about slacks, but that's all good. I got into slacks actually in the pre-market. The reason why is one. Let me see if I can find it. What's it called? Slacks works. Oh, right here. So let me close out some of these. All right, so I got into this one because they were talking about Amazon partnering with these guys. So this one is more of an investment. I hope it doesn't drop too much, but it's more of an investment for me. So hopefully it goes up because, they're talking about Amazon. You can't beat that. So we'll see.
Welcome back to the first trade. And no, you are not seeing things. Dow futures really are up 765 points right now. Broader market higher as well as investors try to absorb and make sense of this better than expected May unemployment report, where
hopefully,
we actually added jobs. 2.5 million to
Slack
be exact, and the
constantly
unemployment rate
continues to
fell
pump up,
to
which is what it's doing right
13.3%
now.
when we were expecting a
Slack
rise
is looking
to
good
more
right
than
now.
19%.
Pumping up.
Jared Blickery has been tracking all the market action this morning. Jared, what are you seeing?
Yeah, kind of a topsy-turvy morning, but we are seeing Dow futures up about 750 points here. And just looking at the chart, we can see we were already up and just a little bit off highs when the report dropped, but
31,
big spike up here. And same for the S&P 500, that's up 2%. And also the NASDAQ finally came back. Took a while. It was in the red.
Merrill trading platform good. I'm getting started on this, and there's many options regarding platforms. What's up, bro? What's up, Hugo? Hugo Santos, what's up, bro? I mean, for me, I like it. The reason why is because, for one, obviously, that's my bank, and it makes it easy for me to use. For one, two, you can trade options. I like trading options. Three, you don't have to pay fees when you're getting in and out of trades. That's big. There's a lot of companies out there that you got to pay per trade that you get in. That's another thing that I like. For with this platform that I'm using right here, they let you use a lot of other stuff too, like technical analysis. They kind of like. I'm gonna show you some stuff that I like about it. So you can scan stocks, and you can get more information about it. Like sometimes, not all stocks do this, but some of the stocks they'll give you a Bank of America grade rating, which will say buy, hold, sell, which is good. I like that because it's instant. You know what I mean? Like I don't have to look it up on YouTube. I mean, yeah, I do look stuff up on YouTube and Google and stuff like that still, but having this helps. That gives you an idea. Being able to see the market cap and all of that stuff, that's helpful information. Of course, you got the news right here, which is good. This is the news for Slack because that's the stock I just got in. Also, you got the news ticker at the top. There's a lot of other stuff that you can add to this. This right here, I'm not too sure what this is. I think this might be people's options trade. I'm not sure. This looks like an options. I don't do options, but options is another route that you can do here. That's another thing I like about it. I don't do options trading, but that's something else that's pretty good too. You got ETFs, indices. You can even add random stuff on here. Like right here, I have like a page full of other stuff that I'm doing. This is blacked out, so you really can't see what I got on the right side. Then you have this page. Let me see if this shows. Does this page show? I'll just do. Hold on one second. I'll do this. There we go. So this is another thing I like right here. This is one of the best things I like right here. So this gives you a summary of what people that's professional traders, I guess you would say, gives you like tell you like insights on the stock itself and what's going on, like every day, week, minute, or whatever time frame you trade on. As you can see, you got short term, immediate, long term, and they tell you everything about it, like what's going on. I mean, I like that. And then also I get alerts, which not only alerts to get in trades, but of course, if you, let's say, I'll go to my chart. So right here, if I can set alerts to when to get in trades and stuff like that. Also, not that kind of alert I was talking about, but like for example, I'll get alerts right here that will tell me when a certain trend is going on. Like for example, what's today? See, the market's closed right now, so I didn't get any yet. But like for example, this right here, this will pop up on my computer and say, hey, check this out, and it'll tell you what's going on. A bearish flag pattern was confirmed yesterday. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. I mean, that's helpful information. That's helpful information. They give you a lot of stuff. They give you a lot of information. Like you don't have to. Oh, the market is open. Let's do it. Let's see what's going on. The market just opened.
And we are off to the races on Wall Street.
The market just opened. 1 second.
Up 700 points here right out of
wow, I'm up 75% on American Airlines.
The biggest payroll surprise.
Oh man.
The government.
But hey, here we go. You got any other questions you need to answer?
2.5 million jobs, while the unemployment rate fell to 13.3% during this pandemic as more economies began to reopen.
I'm up 75%.
we'll see how long this can last.
I can
Let's
almost
bring in
afford to pay for
Christina
college
Hooper,
at
Chief
this
Global
point.
Market Strategist at Invesco. We also have with us Brian Sazi and, of course, Jared Blickery.
Today's a good
morning,
day.
Christina, this is the first
As
time
I would
you're
always
speaking
say,
this morning.
today's
So
a
just
good
your
day.
initial reaction when you saw that jobs report cross the wires at 8:30 this morning. What did you think?
Well, after I picked my jaw up off the floor, I wondered if there could be some mistake. But of course, it appears to be the real deal. And I can only assume that a combination of factors are at play. That PPP is working, and that's certainly part of it, but also that the reopenings have stimulated job growth. And that's exciting.
Christina, no, that's
sorry, Brian. We saw that continuing jobless claims rise.
Every day just gets better and better.
Non-farm.
Every day just gets better and better for
starting
your boy.
to recover, adding 2.5 million.
Man.
But are still down by nearly 20 million, Christina, since February. So is this report sort of a false sense of security, do you think, for the markets? And do we need to be careful here?
We won't know until we see the June jobs report. We could be getting a false sense of security, but we are in the midst of reopening. So it would make sense that jobs are being created. And
today is a wild ride in the markets. No, everything was clear. Thank you so much. Hey, I mean, I answer as much as I can answer for you, man. Like, you know, of course, there's a lot of stuff involved into this.
Point on the PPP loans, because I just got a text from my brother, and he simply texted me, of course, we're going to get higher jobs because those PPP loans are in fact working. Well, my question to you is, because they do appear to be working, does that make the case?
But yeah, I mean, I'll answer. If you find any other questions, just ask me,
keep the economy
and I'll
going
answer
along,
them.
keep the recovery going.
I will answer
maybe
them
$1
for
trillion
you.
Stimulus plan, a new one, makes sense.
I'm a big believer in that. As we saw in
wow, man, this is crazy, yo.
Lower income workers were
making my mama proud today.
Hard. They are the ones that typically don't have a lot in savings, and they also spend much of what they earn. So they're a critical part of the economy, which, as we know in the U.S., is driven largely by consumer spending. So it's absolutely critical.
So do you trade stocks or do you trade options?
And even though we got one good jobs report, I don't think that's enough to say we can sit back and not worry about any more fiscal stimulus. It's important to continue that stimulus and maintain solvency.
All right, I want to check in with Jared, though, here for early market action. 3 minutes into the trading day. It looks like we're gangbusters here for U.S. equities. What's bringing us higher? And is this a broad-based rally, Jared?
It's pretty broad-based, except for our tech giants. And we've been talking about that for the last 2 weeks. But energy, financials, industrials, the leaders over the last 2 weeks, pushing in additional gains here. And we can see on the Dow heat map, Apple's up 0.6%. Software's a little weak with Microsoft down 0.3%. Staples underperforming. Walmart's in the red. But
I stare with stocks in the Mexican market. I don't really know too much about the Mexican market.
And you can see this really big rally. We're basically 16 days from an interim low. And JP Morgan is up 36, 37% on that. Also looking at some of the oil plays, those are up as well as crude oil heads to $40 a barrel. We can see ExxonMobil is up 25% over the last 16 days since this rally began. And let's just take a look at the sectors. So there's your energy, financials, industrials, materials, real estate, all outperforming. Healthcare, a laggard as it has been. Staples, tech, communication services, those have been the laggards over the last 2 weeks. And we can see that if we go to a 5-day, just energy up 15%, financials up 14%. That has been why the Dow has been outperforming. Let's take a look at our pharmaceuticals, because those have been under a little bit of pressure. That's where we see some red, as well as the software names. So we're going to want to track this going forward, because those have been really staples of the tech trade that propelled markets to highs. But it's nice to see these other groups like financials and industrials catch up, and also the beaten down stocks like airlines, which we're looking at right now, which have had an incredible run. But we do want to see tech kind of catch up here. And just look, over the last 5 days, American is up 108%, and we have Save, which is value. Spirit Airlines, that's up 94%. Just incredible moves here.
You have to wonder if there's a little irrational exuberance at work there, Jared. All right, thanks for that. I want to get back to Christina. What do you think about the Federal Reserve, given today's report, Christina? Are we going to see the Fed hint that maybe the stimulus, which appears to have been working, needs to be unwound a little bit now? And if they were to do that, is that going to be premature?
I don't think we'll hear that from the Fed. What we've heard consistently from Jay Powell and from other members of the FOMC as well is that there is a need for significant stimulus. One of the lessons learned from the global financial crisis is that the recovery can be very uneven if you have mostly monetary stimulus and not a lot of fiscal stimulus. So I think what we've heard consistently from the Fed is that call for more fiscal stimulus. So I don't think that one jobs report will make the Fed change its tune and call for a dialing down of fiscal stimulus.
Christina, on the market, I'm sure people are waiting. Okay, they see the better expected jobs report, they see the market in major rally mode, and that fear that we've been seeing on Wall Street, of fear of missing out, FOMO, that now even gains even more steam. But where do you go? Do you chase some of these tech stocks that are looking a little weak this morning? Do you go into value? What sectors do you like?
I think you need to be broadly diversified. What we're seeing,
if y'all know any good stocks, man, let me know.
Rally. But
let me know.
The day, we can see growth outperform, a lot of the sort of secular growth defensive names outperform, and certain days, the more cyclical names outperform. I think a lot of that has to do with expectations.
What happened? The market's so good, the live stream crashed. That's crazy. Everything crashing right now, except for Robinhood.
Last time I bought a used car, I ended up paying too much. It's pretty embarrassing.
Only Carfax.com can give you the most accurate price based on the Carfax report. Stop the shame of overpaying and start your used car search today at Carfax.com.
Damn, they got a video of this? Even he trying to get in the market.
Good morning. Pleasure to be with all of you. To my left, Melissa DeRosa, Secretary to the Governor. To my right, Robert Mujica, Budget Director of the State of New York, also gracing the cover of City and State magazine this month, where he has that big warm smile that he's famous for. Today is day 95 of the situation dealing with the coronavirus pandemic, and it is day 10 of the situation dealing with the civil unrest after the murder of Mr. Floyd that we all...
I left AT&T, didn't know about the taxes and fees.
I said Sprint back. Who likes contracts?
T-Mobile, I said bye.
I think you need to be broadly diversified. What we're seeing, right, is a broadening of this stock market rally.
I don't know what happened there.
The
Stream might have
we can
restarted.
see growth outperform, a lot of the sort of secular growth defensive names outperform, and certain days, the more cyclical names outperform. I think a lot of that has to do with expectations.
Our editor-in-chief, Andy Sherwer, is joining us now. And Andy, good morning to you. I know you had a chance to speak with the Columbia University professor, Jeffrey Sachs, about all this recently. What kind of insights was he able to give you?
Yeah, Alexis, he has a new book out called The Ages of Globalization. Of course, Professor Sachs is someone who's studied our economy and our society for many years. And maybe not surprisingly, he has some fairly negative things to say about inequality right now. Here's what he had to say, Alexis.
We have the worst of all worlds right now. It's no trade-offs. It's not that saving the economy and suffering ill health. We have a pandemic. We have a Great Depression. We have a social crisis. We have a crisis of leadership. We have really the worst that we have seen in the United States, at least since the Great Depression, but arguably since the Civil War, if I could say. We need a new start in this country. We're going to need a new economic direction as well. We're going to need an investment-led recovery where we tap into the vast amount of low-cost capital available right now to build a new, clean, efficient, non-polluting economy, and to put a lot of people to work doing that.
So Professor Sachs, obviously no friend of the Trump administration. Earlier, he had endorsed Bernie Sanders, but now says he supports Joe Biden, Alexis.
All right. Perhaps no big surprise there. What did Professor Sachs have to say about wealth disparity? Because I know he has analyzed that and written quite a lot about that as well.
Yeah, he spoke about how the coronavirus had exacerbated this inequality because obviously people in hourly jobs are being affected in terms of layoffs and also in terms of contracting the coronavirus. So saying that this made matters worse. Of course, I did this interview yesterday, and now there's this jobs report this morning, which maybe puts things in a little bit of a better light. Still, obviously, Alexis, there are huge problems that we're facing right now. And this is not even getting into the social unrest and the protests.
Andy, a lot of exuberance off this jobs report, but we'd love to get your take just from a market perspective. Is it warranted? The economy is still nowhere near it was exiting 2019.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, you guys, this is the most perplexing jobs report I think I've ever seen in all of my decades covering business journalism. I mean, it's just stunning. We were expecting the numbers to be so negative. You know, the unemployment rate was supposed to get up towards 20%. We were supposed to lose 8 million jobs. Instead, we gained 2.5 million jobs, as you guys have been talking about. And the unemployment rate is only, I mean, it's still pretty bad, at 13%. Maybe it shows that all those people who are buying stocks, you guys, since March 23rd and were, you know, making the market go up, were onto something. That they were actually right, that the market was going, the economy was going to recover a lot faster than some people had thought. So, you know, I think it's too early for those people to declare victory, but certainly it's something very much in their favor in terms of making an argument that things are actually going to recover a bit better, earlier, and stronger than perhaps people thought.
All right. Well, you can certainly catch the full interview with Jeffrey Sachs on Yahoo Finance Presents. Andy Serwer will bring that to you on yahoofinance.com as well as on our app. Thanks a lot, Andy.
Thanks, Alexis.
All right. An absolutely stellar, outstanding, what other words can you use, adjectives can you use for Zoom video communications first quarter? Consumers across the globe were mandated to stay at home. The platform became a household name. We saw revenue jump 169% in the latest quarter. The stock is up better than 200% year to date. Joining us now is Zoom CFO Kelly Steckelberg. Kelly, good to see you again. I understand it was your birthday the day this earnings report was released. So happy belated, and what a birthday present, right? 169% jump in revenue. I guess the street's question now is, as economies begin to reopen and some people start to go back to the office, how do you hold on to that momentum, if at all, at Zoom?
Thank you. Good morning. And we're really building a business for the long term. You know, we had our customers with greater than 10 employees grow over 350% in Q1. And that really sets a base for us to continue to provide more services to them, to expand Zoom Meetings, as well as our relatively new product, Zoom Phone, to sell into them. And as they think about going back to the workplace, to add in things like Zoom Rooms, which is our conference room solution. You know, we've also seen a tremendous increase in demand for our webinars product as people look to bring what was previously on-premise events virtual. And these are users conference, investors conference, which I've done a few in the last few days, And I think it's going to be a very long time before we go back to a state where we're really reconvening as we were before. So I think we're looking forward to a hybrid approach where people have now really integrated video into their lives, and they're going to continue to do that even though they might be moving around in the world a little bit more again.
What's up,
Kelly,
chat?
your
Life
guidance,
just gets
for the
better
full
and
year, your new
better.
guidance for the full year
And
applies
today's
an
Friday.
acceleration in your
Fridays
business.
are
What gives you that
usually
level of confidence?
like
You are starting to go back to
not
work.
the
We saw that
best
in the jobs
times to
report today.
trade.
How confident are you that what you saw in the first quarter could be sustained?
Fridays aren't usually the best time
We
to trade.
see already we're 1
Well,
month into Q2
to buy,
already,
I say.
and
I mean to
we
sell.
continue to see
Because
elevated demand, not at the same level that it was
you
in
know,
Q1.
the price
We're
usually
really
goes
at the
down.
height of everybody trying to figure out how to work in this
But
new
not
world.
today.
But our pipeline coming into Q2 remains really strong. We still have lots of organizations and businesses that are thinking about keeping their employees safe and not returning to work for a while. We announced to our team yesterday that we will not be reopening our offices until at least January. So I don't think that we're alone in that. So while we're starting to see
Wow, Hertz shot up to $3.
great and people returning to work, I think
that's
we're gonna see
crazy.
that are going to continue.
Damn, all these stocks that people LK is up to $6.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Oh man, I'm not even mad right now. Even though I wasn't those stocks and I got out, I'm not complaining only because of the fact that I'm up 87% on American Airlines. Like,
make that decision. I mean, are free users
oh,
not getting optimum safety?
it just gets better and better.
So we're in early stages
So
of
on my Robinhood account, chat,
and encryption, but this is
some
really
stocks that I'm in.
How do you balance
Let's take a look at them and see what we're looking
that
at.
we're providing on the platform as well as protecting potentially vulnerable
So I'm in USO.
like children.
I got in at
might be
$20.77.
susceptible if
It's
you're
currently
potentially
at
vulnerable to
$28.
encryption. And
Ain't that nice to know? I'm in UCO. Got in that one at $21.13, and it's currently at $29.
It doesn't end up in the wrong hands.
I'm in
Kelly, we
Gush.
saw reports
Got
that
in that
Visa is
one at
looking to
$37, and
with
it's
Google
currently
on the
at
security front.
$50.
Is that deal done and dusted, or is it still in the
Wow.
process being worked out?
Today is just so
That
good.
is still in early
Today
stages,
is a
so we'll
real
have more to talk
good
about that
day
in the future.
in the streets right now. Like,
all right, Kelly Steckelberg, CFO
today,
of Zoom. Thanks so much for being
I'm
with us. We'll see you
feeling
next time.
vacation.
All right, thanks for having me. Good day.
Well, you
Coming
know,
up next,
not
we're
a
gonna speak with the
vacation
president
today
of
because of the
Vans Global
coronavirus, but
Brands about what
vacation
he's
after
seeing in the
coronavirus.
retail space right now. Stay with us.
Of course, you got to. Not all your stocks gonna be perfect. As you can see, I got a couple of red stocks in the bottom right here. But as long as you got more wins than losses, it don't matter. It don't matter. You know what I mean? Like, it don't matter. Wins and losses. Life just gets better for me. What? How much money did I just make today? Today. Did I? Hold on. 1 second. Let me. I just surprised myself. I might need to get an inhaler. That's a crazy jump.
Welcome back to the first trade. The retail industry is eyeing the road to recovery now that more economies.
Oh man, market looks so good. Your boy about to get an inhaler, boy. I don't even have asthma.
President of Vans Global Brand. Doug, good to see you. Vans is a well-known brand. Your products are in a bunch of different stores: DSW, Nordstrom, just about every department store. What are you seeing in terms of demand? Are things starting to pick up?
The website froze, dog.
They absolutely.
That's how you
are.
know you eating right now.
The physical stores were closed. We were in a digital-only mindset, and the response during that time exceeded our expectations, which was great to see. Now that physical stores are reopening, both our own and those of our partners around the world, we are seeing the pickup that we expected.
Doug, what about China? We've talked in the past before how popular the Vans brand has become in China. As those stores have reopened over there, have you seen that as well?
Man, a website froze on me.
Go in China in terms of the people coming back, traffic into the physical environment. But in what we call digital titans, Tmall's of the world, for example, we've seen a lot of positive trajectory there. So it is still digitally specific in terms of the growth, but physical is coming back. I think it's just a slower burn there than it is here stateside.
What about your supply chain throughout all
Why
of
do they
this?
keep doing that?
Use,
like, is something
different
wrong?
Textiles, leather, fabrics. Where do most of those things come from? And what have disruptions been like? Have you been able to meet demand adequately?
Yeah, we have a very robust supply chain. It's one of the things we pride ourselves at VF.
Damn, you know the market's
Just so
going on when your
understand,
computer,
that's our parent company,
when your thing froze
Vans.
up.
But
Well,
it hasn't been
time
the
to call
best
tech
time,
support.
just like we've seen across the board in the entire sector. Thankfully, Vans has a very diverse sourcing base, and it's really been a limited slowdown in what we've been able to deliver. So we are confident, and we remain confident that we're delivering the right products at the right time for our consumers.
Doug, Vans has always been, it's always had its ears to the ground of the community, and in many respects, a voice of the people. What actions have you taken as a brand during everything we've seen in terms of social unrest over the past few days?
Yeah, thanks for asking about that, Brian. I think for us, it's sort of a two-pronged path. The first path, as you said, ear to the ground, our responsibility is to listen. As you noted, we're very thankful and grateful to have a diverse consumer base. We say that we're open to anyone, and we really respect and appreciate that sort of openness that we have as a brand. But we also understand that we can't just sit idly by, that we have to act. So it's the combination of the listening and the acting that we're doing. Yesterday, we announced some pretty substantial donations that we're making. We formed a enterprise resource group with bright people of color in our organization to help guide us on the actions we need to make. So we need to listen and understand more about what brand's role is, because that's evolving and changing really rapidly as well. But we also intend to act, and we intend to act for the long term. We want to see sustainable, ongoing action from our brand as well. And you'll see that from us.
Doug, what have you had to do with your workforce? We got a monthly unemployment report today that I think shocked just about everybody. We added jobs instead of jobs being taken away last month. But within Vans, have you had to lay off workers, furlough workers? If so, are you bringing them back?
I think, honestly, Alexis, it's one thing to say you're a people first company. It's another thing entirely to act upon that. And we have done that. We have acted upon that. I would say that's one of the things I'm most
What's up,
proud
man?
of
What's up,
in
Sharp?
the multiple crises that
Hi,
we've
bro.
seen.
How you doing,
Both
bro?
Vans and
I'm doing
VF
good.
have taken a very strong stance to protect our people. So no, we have not laid anybody off. Our retail force in the United States continues to be paid in full during the crisis.
Oh, I think
whether
the
the
site
stores
might be
are
messed
open or
up
not,
right
whether
now.
people are working or not. And we think in the long run, not only is that the right thing for us to do, but that will bring more talented people across all of the countries in which we operate. For Vans, that's almost 90 countries, into our family. So we're very proud of that, and we're very proud that we have acted against this concept of being people first.
All right, Doug Palladini, president of Vans Global Brands. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's head over to Jared Blickery now, where Jared, I see the Dow crossing 27,000.
Am I on viewer? I'm not sure. I don't have my thing pulled up. I'm multi-stream on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and Mixer all at once.
Report when we added 2.5 million jobs, unemployment rate ticking down to 13.3%. What have you got, Jared?
That's right, Alexis. Risk
the site
might
be messed up
just really surging now. It was only 24 hours ago we were talking about the fact that a lot of these markets were kind of at crossroads right now, but we have surged past that. Let's take a look at the Dow year-to-date chart, and we can see that we are now approaching. Well, we crossed 27,000 just briefly. We are at this new resistance level.
I love you asking where you're from. I'm from USA, USA East.
Off of its record high in mid-February. The S&P 500 overcame its 3130 resistance and is heading higher. And the NASDAQ 100, check this out, that's a record high. And the economy, is it having a V-shaped recovery? We don't know yet, but the NASDAQ 100 is sure showing it. Let's take a look also at the 10-year T-note yield, because that is surging higher. We were taking a look at this rounded bottom that we have in place. And now 10-year T-note yield could easily hit 1% and higher. This is going to be probably a major pain trade throughout the summer, as a lot of funds were overweight bonds, betting on lower interest rates. But you look at the NASDAQ 100, lots of
nice bro from Australia.
A lot of travel.
That's what's up, man. Are you into the markets as well?
And let's just take a look at the 5-day performance here. It is up 65%. American, no longer a member of the NASDAQ 100, up over 100% this week. Marriott up 8%. We're seeing some chip stocks doing well. Tech software is underperforming. But we got those financial names, the big banks, they are leading. JP Morgan up nearly 4%, Bank of America nearly 50%. Alexis?
All right. Wow. Thanks for the roundup, Jared. And President Trump was quick to tweet out moments after that unemployment report, taking credit for the strong numbers. And he is going to be holding a press conference at the White House in just a few minutes. And when he does, we're going to bring that to you live here at Yahoo Finance. So stay right where you are.
I guess the site's messed up.
The first trade coming up. Once again, the Dow up more than 660 points. We'll be right back.
Okay, so they fixed it. I still made some good money this week.
All right, welcome back to the first trade. I'm still joined by my co-anchor Alexis Christoforous. You're seeing the market in major rally mode after a surprising May jobs report where the economy added 2.5 million jobs. The unemployment rate ticked down to 13.3%. No doubt about it, this market melt-up continues. But let's get right to Inez Ferreira, who I know is watching some specific stocks. And Inez, Slack, top of mind here, getting hit after a somewhat decent quarter.
That's right. Despite a pretty impressive quarter with revenue growing 50% last quarter. Also, I know that you spoke with CFO Alan Shim on the first trade, talking about their performance, also about Shim saying that they have seen the health of their smaller businesses somewhat improving over the last few weeks. So that's promising. Also talking about some of the big enterprise customers like Amazon's AWS, Harvard University, and Verizon, to name a few. Also, just taking a look at Novavax this morning, this is after the biotech company said that it was awarded a contract by the Department of Defense to fund a possible vaccine for COVID-19, being given $60 million to fund that vaccine. And then we're also taking a look at Gap this morning after reporting its earnings with sales falling 43%. But one of the focuses on the earnings call last night was the rent, which mall owner Simon Property is suing for Gap not paying its rent. Back in April, Gap had said that it would not be paying rent due to COVID-19. And in that conference call, CEO Sonia Senegal said, we're pleased with the progress we've made with hundreds of landlords as we're reopening across the country, as the right progressive partners are recognizing, as we do, that the world has changed. So taking a little bit of a jab there at Simon Properties, which is suing Gap for unpaid rent. Brian?
All right, thanks so much, Inez. And it should be noted, we're awaiting a press conference from President Trump on or following the pretty surprising May employment report. But let's stay on the markets here. Let's bring in Erin Gibbs. She is president of Gibbs Wealth Management. Erin, your take on the jobs report. Erin, I think you have to unmute. Yeah, Erin, if you could just unmute, that'd be.
There we go.
Hey, welcome from home. It happens. That's how it goes.
So yeah, I think given that we saw, such a positive surprise from the ADP, I think we were somewhat ready for this report as well coming out for today. But overall, the market really has been shrugging off a lot of these job reports. It really hasn't been as focused. I think we understand that still a lot of people are going to be filing or continue to file, that there's a definite delay in actual reporting. And so I don't see this being as big of a mover for today as just more of the sentiment around the reopening of the economy.
So, Erin, do you think that today's nice big rally is the market just getting ahead of itself a little bit? Are we being too enthusiastic here? Because when you look at fresher economic data like continuing jobless claims, they actually rose in the latest week. We still have 22 million people, drawing unemployment claims in this country. So we're still in a pretty deep hole, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, massive. I mean, when we're looking at overall unemployment and looking at just economic data, that's a little more lagged. But certainly, like when you look at the overall expectations of where we're going to come into the recovery and how long this is going to take, we're looking at 12 to 24 months. I see this really early, just for the today, then this morning, coming off of somewhat of a slightly negative day. The growth stocks really got hit. Value really was the better of the outperformer yesterday, and so it's not unexpected that we see a big bounce back after yesterday's action. So I'm not so sure that this is going to be necessarily continue, that we'll be saying this by the end of the day. There might be a little more of a subdued nature. But again, we knew it was going to be positive just because the previous ADP report. So I think, you have to take all of these reports with a grain of salt, because we know that the numbers are changing so quickly. There's so much volatility, and there's just issues with actually reporting and people actually reporting, jobs and unemployment numbers.
And again, worth noting, we're still waiting for President Trump to give a press conference following the surprising jobs report. Erin, what specific stocks do you like off a report like this?
So I've been really focused on balance sheet and strong cash flow as well as credit worthiness, high quality stocks, particularly as we've seen just a slew of bankruptcies come out. And I think this is just the beginning. Again, we're looking at like a 12 to 24 month recovery. So you've got to be able to have a good, strong balance sheet to be able to withstand retracted and prolonged retracted business activity. And so some of the stocks I like are the cloud services, software services. So F5 Networks, Microsoft, IBM. I also like a few specialty retailers that particularly do well during recessionary periods. And so Home Depot, Lowe's, Sherwin-Williams, all of those sort of home improvement stocks, they've often done well, particularly as you're confined. We're also seeing a lot of people move out of cities and try to move into new homes. We're actually seeing, good new construction builds. And so again, these are the types of stocks that you do well, whether you're either buying a new home, moving out of those cities, or if we're still very much focused on staying in home a lot more, you might want to, put a new coat of paint on those four walls that you have to look at so much longer.
Yeah, that sounds good. A little refresher in the home, Erin. I hear you. What do you make of those stocks that have been beaten down the most during this pandemic, namely the travel stocks, hotel and airline stocks, cruise liners, which are actually doing quite well today, as Jared pointed out earlier, as people sort of take advantage of those rock bottom prices in some areas. But are you invested in those sectors, and are you bullish on them?
Yeah, I think those, for me, they're very short-term trading. We saw a bit of a pop with the airlines yesterday as well. So for me, I think those are the industries where we know there's going to be consolidation. It's very unlikely that when we come out of this, 2 years later, that we're going to have the same number of airlines and just as many hotels. You're really not sure who's going to be able to avoid bankruptcy, or if we're going to see just more consolidation and avoidance. We also know that business travel is very likely going to be hit. We've all gotten used to be able to doing video conferencing. We've all become very adept at whether it's Zoom or WebEx or your Google, Microsoft Meets. And so that was one of the major profit centers for a lot of these travel, both hotel and airlines. And I see that as being a long-term secular trend of less business travel. And so I really feel that given that you're looking at an industry that could be continuing to see a decline even as the economy recovers, this isn't an area that I necessarily want to be invested in. And that's why I'm more focused on software technology, cloud services, as we move more and more into that space, and this being a longer term trend.
Erin, when you talk to clients, and Alexis mentioned this earlier, do you sense irrational exuberance starting to form? Are people starting to just foam at the mouth? Like, I want to get in this market and I'm getting concerned I'm missing out.
My clients are saying, I can't believe this market is so high. So I don't see a lot of people missing out or being concerned that they aren't invested. Most of my clients stayed invested and didn't take out, or if they did take out, they took out in March and they're very comfortable with that. I think what we're really most of large money managers are really concerned that we're looking at such extraordinary valuations, and the market really isn't moving off of fundamentals. We're moving off of sentiment.